Modern life doesn't take your money all at once. It drains it slowly, and that's what makes it so dangerous. It's not a single big purchase that wipes you out. It's not a car repair, or a medical bill, or some enormous, obvious mistake you made with money. No. What's really happening is quieter than that, softer, more invisible. It's the $5 here, the $12 there, the I'll just grab something quick, and the I'll cancel next month, I promise. It's all the little things that don't feel like decisions, but they are. Every single one of them is a decision, and every single one of them costs something. And by the time you notice, by the time you sit down and look at your bank account and feel that sinking feeling in your chest, the money is already gone. Sound familiar? If it does, you're not alone. Not even close. This is one of the most common experiences people have with money today, especially if you're in your 20s or 30s, living in a world that has been perfectly, almost surgically designed to make spending feel effortless, natural, normal. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. Not in a you're doing everything wrong kind of way, not in a lecture, not with a list of rules that make you feel guilty for buying coffee. We're going to talk about this the way two friends would, honestly, openly, and with real curiosity about what's actually going on beneath the surface. Because the truth is, this isn't really about willpower. It's not about being irresponsible or careless. It's about something much bigger, a system that has been built around your psychology, your habits, your emotions, a system that has learned exactly when you're tired, exactly when you're stressed, exactly when you're bored, and it reaches into your pocket in those moments so smoothly that you barely even feel it. So let's slow down. Let's look at this together. And by the end of this, I want you to feel something important. Not shame, not panic, but clarity. The kind of clarity that actually changes things. Let's start with a feeling you probably know very well. You get paid. For a moment, sometimes just a few hours, sometimes a day or two. It feels good, really good. Your balance looks real. It looks like something. You might even feel a small wave of relief, like, okay, I'm fine, we're fine, everything's going to be fine. And then it starts. The rent comes out, or the mortgage, or the transfer to your landlord. Whatever it is, a big chunk disappears immediately, and you adjust. You mentally recalculate. Okay, this is what I'm working with now. Then the phone bill, the internet, the electricity, maybe a car payment, insurance. These are the fixed ones, the ones you've accepted as just part of life. They barely register anymore. They come and go like background noise. But then the rest of the month plays out. And this is where it gets interesting. Monday morning, you're running late. No time to make coffee. You stop at the cafe on the corner. $7. No big deal. You're already running late. This isn't the moment to stress about $7. Tuesday, a coworker mentions this new lunch spot nearby. You go. It's good, actually. $15 with the tip. Wednesday, you're tired after work. You open the delivery app because it's right there. It's always right there. And you order something. With the delivery fee and the service charge and the little tip you add because you genuinely feel bad not tipping, it's $32 for one meal. Thursday, you get a notification. Something you looked at online last week is now on sale. 20% off. You buy it. Not because you desperately needed it, but because 20% off felt like it would be irresponsible not to buy it. $48. Friday, you and a few friends grab drinks. You say you'll just have one or two. The night ends around midnight. You split the bill, add your share, and somewhere in there the evening cost you $60. And the weekend has its own rhythm. Brunch here, an online impulse buy there, maybe a streaming upgrade because there was something you really wanted to watch. Maybe a new app that costs just a few dollars a month. By the time the next paycheck comes around, you're sitting there wondering what happened. You weren't reckless. You didn't blow money on anything crazy. You didn't go on a shopping spree. You just lived. You just did the normal things that normal people do in modern life, and somehow you're back to almost nothing. This feeling, this confused, slightly embarrassed, slightly anxious feeling, is not a personal failure. It's a symptom. And understanding what it's a symptom of is where everything starts to change. Here's the thing about modern life that nobody really sits down and explains to you clearly. It has been engineered to cost more than it used to. Not in obvious ways. Prices going up is obvious, and yeah, that's happening too. But in structural ways, in ways built into the very design of how we live now. Think about what convenience actually means in 2024. Convenience means you never have to wait. You never have to plan. You never have to go out of your way or feel the friction of effort. Everything, food, entertainment, clothes, social connection, information, distraction, everything is available right now at your fingertips at any hour of the day or night. And that sounds wonderful. In a lot of ways, it is wonderful. But there's a cost attached to that convenience, and it's higher than most people realize. Every layer of convenience adds a price. The delivery app is convenient, but now you're not paying restaurant prices. You're paying restaurant prices plus delivery fee plus service fee plus tip plus the markup the app charges the restaurant that somehow gets passed to you. A meal that might cost $15 if you drove there and picked it up yourself now costs $35 delivered to your door. And you pay it. Of course you do. Because it's raining, or you're tired, or the kids need to be put to bed, or you just don't feel like it. The convenience is worth it in the moment. But in the moment is the key phrase there. Because these moments stack, they accumulate. And the total cost of all these convenient moments, that number is something most people have never actually calculated. Because if they did, it would be genuinely shocking. There's also something that the finance world calls frictionless spending. And this might be one of the most important concepts for understanding why money disappears so easily today. Friction, in spending terms, is anything that slows you down before you part with money. The old way of spending had a lot of friction. You had to go to a physical store. You had to find the thing. You had to carry cash, or at least physically swipe a card. You could see the money leaving your wallet. You might have even had to talk to another human being. All of that friction was, in a way, protective. It gave you time to think. It gave your brain a moment to ask, do I actually need this? Now, friction is basically gone. Your card details are saved. Your fingerprint unlocks the payment. One click, one tap, and it's done. Amazon built an entire business model around removing friction. One-click ordering, Prime delivery, the recommendation engine that puts exactly the thing you didn't know you wanted directly in front of your face at exactly the right moment. And it works. It works brilliantly. Not because you're weak or easily manipulated, but because your brain was not designed for this environment. Your brain was designed for a world that had friction, that required effort, that made scarcity visible and real. In that world, spending felt like spending. You felt it. Now, it often doesn't feel like anything at all. And then there's the advertising, which is everywhere, and which has become frighteningly good. You mentioned something out loud near your phone. You searched for something once, 3 weeks ago. You lingered on a post a little too long while scrolling, and now that thing, or something like it, follows you across every app, every website, every platform. Personalized, targeted, shown to you at the exact moment the algorithm has determined you're most likely to click. This isn't conspiracy thinking. This is just how the modern attention economy works. Your attention is the product, and advertisers pay enormous amounts of money to access it, specifically when you're in states of boredom, loneliness, or stress. Because Those are the states where you're most likely to spend, and you're in those states a lot because modern life is exhausting. And exhausted people spend differently than rested, clear headed people. Exhausted people spend emotionally, which brings us to the psychology of all this. And this is the part I really want you to sit with, because understanding why you spend the way you do, not judging it, just understanding it, is more powerful than any budget spreadsheet ever made. Let's talk about invisible spending first. There's a fascinating thing that happens when money becomes abstract, when it's not physical cash in your hand, when it's just numbers on a screen, a card tap, a click. Your brain genuinely doesn't process it the same way. Psychological studies have shown over and over again that people spend significantly more when using cards or digital payments than when using cash. The pain of paying is reduced when the money isn't physically visible. This is why casinos use chips instead of cash. This is why apps use coins and gems instead of dollars. This is why subscription services list prices as per month instead of per year. Because $11.99 sounds like almost nothing, while $143.88 sounds like a real thing you should probably think about. The invisibility of digital money isn't a bug in the system, it's a feature for the companies collecting it. Now let's talk about dopamine spending. This one is huge and it touches almost everyone. Dopamine is the neurotransmitter your brain releases in anticipation of reward. Not just when you get something good, but when you expect something good, when you're about to get it. And here's the critical thing: the act of buying something, the click, the confirmation that your order has been placed, triggers a dopamine response. You feel good, even before the thing arrives, even before you use it. And that feeling is real. It's a genuine neurological event. It's not imaginary weakness. Your brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do. The problem is that modern commerce has learned to trigger this response constantly, quickly, and cheaply. And the feeling fades fast, which means you need to trigger it again. Scroll, see something appealing, feel a little spark, click, buy, feel the rush, wait for delivery, receive it. The rush is already gone. Back to scrolling. This loop is not an accident, it is a business model. Then there's stress spending, which I think is maybe the most relatable one of all. When you're stressed, really stressed, the kind of tired in your bones, mentally overloaded stress of modern life, your brain desperately wants relief. And spending provides a very quick, very accessible form of relief. It's control. In a world that feels chaotic and overwhelming, buying something is an action you can take, a decision you can make, a small area of life where you get to choose. Ordering food when you're exhausted isn't just about hunger, it's about not having to think anymore, not having to make another decision, not having to do another thing. The $22 for that delivered bowl of something warm is, in your brain's accounting system, $22 for peace, for a few minutes of not having to try, and spending on yourself, a little treat, a small luxury, when you feel beaten down, and spending on yourself, a little treat, a small luxury, when you feel beaten down by work or relationships, or the general grind of existence. That's emotional regulation. Imperfect, expensive, often ineffective emotional regulation. But your brain knows it provides some relief and it remembers. Finally, decision fatigue. This one quietly destroys financial discipline for millions of people, and hardly anyone talks about it. Your brain has a limited capacity for making good decisions in a given day. Every decision you make, what to wear, what to say in that email, how to handle that conversation, what to have for lunch, whether to take that meeting, it all draws from the same cognitive resource, And as the day goes on, as that resource depletes, your decision making gets worse. Studies on judges showed that people were more likely to receive favorable rulings in the morning than in the afternoon. Not because the judges were bad people, but because decision fatigue is real and it affects everyone. And when your decision making capacity is depleted, what happens? You default. You go with the easy option, the path of least resistance. And in the modern spending world, the path of least resistance almost always costs money. Order delivery instead of cooking. Buy the thing instead of thinking about it. Subscribe instead of finding the free alternative. Decision fatigue feeds right into frictionless spending, and together they quietly bleed you dry. Okay? Let's get really specific. Let's actually look at where the money goes, because I think sometimes we need to see it laid out clearly to really feel it. Subscriptions first, because this is where the slow drain is most insidious. Think about how many things you're subscribed to right now, and I want you to actually think, not estimate, actually try to list them mentally. There's the big streaming service, and the other streaming service, and the one you got for that one show, and then forgot to cancel. There's the music streaming, the cloud storage, maybe for your photos, maybe for your work files. The new subscription you got during a free trial, the productivity app, the password manager, the VPN, the fitness app, the meditation app, the one-click grocery delivery membership, the gaming subscription, the professional tool for work you use occasionally, the premium version of something that was free until they changed the model. Each of these on its own is manageable. $9.99, $14.99, $5 a month. It's nothing, right? But add them up. Really add them up. The average person today is subscribed to more services than they think and pays for more than they use. Research has consistently found that people underestimate their monthly subscription spending by significant margins. Not because they're dishonest, but because each one individually feels so small that it doesn't really register. But 12 subscriptions at an average of $10 each is $120 a month. That's $1,440 a year for things you probably only use about half of regularly. $1,440 in a year just in subscriptions. Let that breathe for a second. Now add the delivery fees. Every time you order food, there's a delivery fee. Sometimes it's flat, sometimes it's surge priced based on demand. Then there's the service fee, a percentage of your order that goes to the platform. Then there's the tip. Then sometimes there's a small order fee if you didn't spend enough. Then there's the difference in menu prices, because restaurants often charge more on delivery apps than in-store to cover their own platform costs. You might order what you think is a $15 meal and end up paying $32. And if you're doing this 3 or 4 times a week because work is busy, because cooking feels impossible, because it's just easier, you could be spending $300 to $400 a month just on the fees and markups alone. Not even the food itself, the fees. Then there are the coffees, the snacks, the small daily purchases that are so normalized we've stopped seeing them as choices at all. The morning coffee on the way to work, the afternoon pick me up, the snack from the vending machine or the convenience store, the let's just grab something quick lunch. $7 a day on coffee and snacks, 5 days a week. That's $35 a week, $150 a month, $1,800 a year on coffee and snacks. And look, I'm not here to tell you to give up coffee. That's not the point. The point is that most people have no idea they're spending $1,800 a year on coffee and snacks because they've never added it up, because each individual purchase feels too small to count. And then the impulse purchases, the online window shopping that becomes actual shopping, the sale that felt irresponsible to miss, The thing you saw advertised 6 times and eventually bought just to make the ad stop feeling relevant. The late night purchase on your phone while you were watching something and half asleep. These are harder to quantify because they're irregular. But they add up. They always add up. Let me tell you about two people. I'll call them Maya and Jake. They're fictional, but you might recognize them. Maya is 26. She works a decent job, makes a reasonable salary. She's not extravagant. She doesn't take lavish vacations or drive a luxury car. By any objective measure, she's living a pretty normal, pretty modest life. But every month she's confused about where her money went. Here's what a typical month looks like for Maya, zoomed in. It's Tuesday, around 10:30 at night. She had a long day. Not a catastrophic day, just long. Meetings that could have been emails. A project that took longer than expected. She's tired and slightly fried, and the idea of cooking anything at this hour feels genuinely impossible. She opens the delivery app. She wasn't planning to. She was just going to watch something and go to sleep. But the app is right there, and she's hungry, and there's a place she loves that has exactly what she wants. She orders it. With tip and fees, it's $38. While she's waiting for the food, she's scrolling, and she sees an ad for a skincare product she'd looked at once, a few weeks ago, and completely forgotten about. But now it's in front of her again, and there's a limited time offer, and the reviews are good. She clicks. She reads for a few minutes. She buys it. $52. The food arrives. She eats it watching something on one of her 3 streaming services. She falls asleep before finishing the episode. The next morning, she barely remembers the purchase. It already feels like a distant decision made by a slightly different version of herself. By the end of the month, Maya has a dozen nights like that. Not all as expensive. Some are just small coffees, a snack here, a convenience purchase there. But the pattern is the same. Tired, low friction, emotionally driven spending that happens in the margins of life, in the quiet, exhausted moments, almost automatically. She's not irresponsible. She's just human. She's living in an environment that was designed to do exactly this. Now Jake. Jake is 31. He's actually pretty financially aware. He has a budget. He tracks his spending, or he tries to. He knows what his rent is, his bills, his car payment. He has a solid grasp of the big numbers. But Jake has a subscription problem that even he hasn't fully reckoned with. He signed up for a streaming service 2 years ago for a specific show. He still has it. He hasn't watched anything on it in 4 months. $15 a month. He's going to cancel it. He will, just not today. He has a gym membership he's been meaning to use more. $45 a month. He went twice last month. He'll go more next month. He knows he will. He has a premium tier of a professional software he used intensively during a project that ended 8 months ago. He told himself he'd need it again soon. He hasn't. $22 a month. He has a meal kit delivery subscription that he paused twice but never canceled. Sometimes boxes show up that he forgot were coming. He uses some of it goes bad. $27 a week. He has a parking app, a music service, a podcast subscription, a VPN, a cloud backup service, and a premium news subscription that he reads maybe twice a month. Add it up. Jake is spending over $400 a month on subscriptions alone. He would tell you if you asked that his subscriptions cost maybe $150. He hasn't added them up in a while. He hasn't needed to. Each one is so small. But $400 a month is $4,800 a year, almost $5,000. On recurring charges he barely thinks about. Maya and Jake are both intelligent, aware, reasonable people. And they're both quietly bleeding money in ways they haven't fully seen yet. And this is the core of what I want to say to you today. The insight that I think changes how you look at all of this. You're not losing money in one big moment. You're losing it quietly every single day, in amounts so small they feel inconsequential, in moments so ordinary they don't even register as financial decisions. The enemy isn't the big purchase. The enemy is the pattern, the accumulation, the slow, invisible drain. Think about it this way: that delivery meal you ordered on a Tuesday night because you were tired, $38, not a crisis. But if you do that twice a week, that's $304 a month, $3,648 a year. On convenience meals alone, the streaming service you forgot to cancel, $15 a month, insignificant. Over 3 years of not canceling it, $540 for something you stopped watching. The morning coffee you grab on the way to work, $650, barely counts. Every workday for a year, that's $1,690 on coffee. Now imagine you're running all of these simultaneously: the subscriptions, the deliveries, the daily coffees, the impulse purchases, the convenience markups. Not every day, but regularly, consistently in the rhythm of ordinary modern life. The total isn't small. The total is staggering. And here's the thing about that total: you can't feel it. You genuinely cannot feel the money leaving in these increments. Your brain is not equipped to track it. These purchases don't cause pain. They don't trigger alarm. They slide past your awareness the way background sounds do. You hear them, but you're not really listening. And so the month ends, the year ends, and you're left with that same confused, slightly sinking feeling. Where did it go? I didn't even spend on anything big. You didn't. That's the whole point. Let me give you a visual for this, because I think seeing it laid out is genuinely important. Imagine you have a bucket, and that bucket is your monthly income. Your job every month is to fill the bucket and then use what's in it wisely, cover necessities, save some, live your life. But there are holes in the bucket, tiny holes, dozens of them, and water, money, is leaking out of everyone constantly all month long. One hole is labeled subscriptions, another says delivery fees, another impulse purchases. There are holes for convenience coffees, in-app purchases, forgotten free trials, services you use once a month, the gym you joined in January, and the parking app you downloaded and never deleted. None of these holes by itself is catastrophic. None of them by itself empties the bucket. But together they can drain the bucket faster than you're filling it. Or at minimum, they drain it in ways that leave nothing for the things that actually matter: savings, security, the big goals, the life you actually want to build. And the holes are invisible. You can't see them directly. They're in the bottom and the sides, in corners you don't regularly look at. The fix isn't to earn more water. The fix is to find the holes, and then decide, consciously, intentionally, which ones to close. Not all of them, not forever, but the ones you never meant to have, the ones that got there without you noticing, the ones that are costing you without giving you anything real in return. So, what do you actually do about this? And I want to be really careful here because I don't want to give you a list of deprivation tactics that you'll try for 2 weeks and abandon. That's not what works. What works is building systems and awareness, not willpower. Willpower runs out. Systems don't. The first thing, honestly the most important thing, is just to see it. Clearly, fully, without flinching. Get your last 3 months of bank statements, or use your banking app's transaction history, and go through it, every line. Not to judge yourself, that's not the exercise. The exercise is just to see what's there. Categorize roughly as you go. Fixed necessities, rent, utilities, insurance. Variable necessities, groceries, transport, subscriptions and recurring charges, food delivery and restaurants, convenience purchases, impulse or one-off purchases. At the end of this exercise, you will know something most people never know clearly: where your money actually goes. Not where you think it goes, where it actually goes. And I promise you, for almost everyone who does this, there are surprises. Things you forgot you were paying for, amounts you underestimated, patterns you didn't realize existed. This awareness alone, just seeing it, changes behavior because your brain can't ignore what it's clearly seen. The second thing is to do a subscription audit. Right now, today, this week, make a list of every recurring charge you have. Every subscription, membership, monthly service, annual fee. Pull your bank and credit card statements to make sure you're not missing anything, because you probably are. Then, for each one, ask yourself 3 questions. 1. Have I used this in the last 30 days? 2. Does it provide value that's worth the monthly cost to me right now? 3. If I had to actively resubscribe to this today, would I? That third question is the most important one, because a lot of subscriptions we keep are ones we wouldn't consciously choose to start, we just never chose to stop. Anything that fails those 3 questions, cancel it. Not pause, cancel. You can always resubscribe if you genuinely miss it, but the default should be not paying, not paying. You're buying avocado toast when you should be investing in index funds. You're ordering delivery when you should be batch cooking on Sundays. And that framing is not only unkind, it's inaccurate. The reason modern life is financially difficult is not primarily because of personal failure. It's because the modern world has been structured at every level to extract money from you as efficiently as possible. The subscription model, the delivery fee model, the targeted advertising model, the algorithmic recommendation model. These are not accidental features of modern life. They are the deliberate, highly optimized products of billions of dollars of investment and decades of psychological research. You are up against systems that are smarter, better resourced, and more tireless than any individual. Companies that study your behavior more closely than you study yourself. Algorithms that know your emotional states better than your friends do. So the fact that money slips through your fingers sometimes, that's not a character flaw. That's what's supposed to happen from the perspective of the system. Understanding that doesn't mean giving up. It means approaching this with the right framework, not I need more willpower, but I need better systems. Not I need to feel more guilty about spending, but I need to see more clearly where my money is going. Not I am bad with money, but I am living in an environment that was designed to make this hard, and I am going to make it a little easier for myself. That shift from self-blame to self-understanding is genuinely transformative, because guilt doesn't build savings. Guilt doesn't cancel subscriptions. Guilt doesn't change patterns. Guilt just adds another layer of discomfort to a situation that's already uncomfortable. Understanding, on the other hand, creates action, clear-eyed, compassionate, non-dramatic action. You are not failing at money. You are navigating a genuinely difficult, genuinely complex financial landscape that was designed to challenge you. And you're doing it while also managing work, relationships, health, family, your own emotions, the news, the world, everything else that competes for your attention and energy every single day. Give yourself some credit for that. And then, gently, start making things a little clearer, a little more intentional, one small step at a time. Here's something I want you to sit with as we wrap up. Every big financial change in anyone's life started with a small moment of awareness, a moment where they looked at their situation clearly, maybe for the first time, and thought, okay, I see what's happening, and I'm going to do something differently. Not everything at once, not perfectly, not without setbacks and forgotten subscriptions and emotional late night orders and impulse buys they kind of regret, but differently, with more intention, with more awareness, with more of a sense that they are the author of their financial life, not a passive observer of it. That moment, the moment where you actually see it, is the most valuable thing. More valuable than any budgeting app, any investment strategy, any tips and tricks and hacks. Because once you really see it, you can't unsee it. And the seeing changes things. Maybe after watching this, you go look at your subscriptions and find 3 things you can cancel. Maybe that saves you $40 a month. Maybe you start tracking your delivery spending and discover it's twice what you thought, and you decide to cook at home twice more per week. Maybe you set up that automatic savings transfer, even just $50, and you feel something shift. A small sense of agency, a small sense of, I'm doing this on purpose now. Those small changes, over time, compound into something real, into security, into options, into the kind of financial breathing room where you're not constantly anxious about money, where your paycheck doesn't disappear and leave you confused, where you actually know where your money is going and feel good about most of those choices. That's what this is really about. Not deprivation, not sacrifice, not becoming someone who never enjoys a delivered meal or a morning coffee or a new streaming series. It's about the difference between spending consciously and spending automatically, between choosing your life and just drifting through it, between feeling like money controls you and feeling like you have some real, meaningful say in the matter. Modern life will keep trying to drain your wallet quietly. That's not going to change. The apps will keep sending notifications. The algorithms will keep showing you exactly the right thing at exactly the wrong moment. The subscriptions will keep auto-renewing. The delivery apps will keep being right there, one tap away when you're exhausted and hungry at 10:30 on a Tuesday. But you can see it now. You can see the whole system. And that changes everything. Not all at once, not overnight, not perfectly, but you can start today with one canceled subscription, one added moment of friction, one cleared-eyed look at where the money actually goes. Start there and keep going from there. That's how you stop the quiet drain. Not dramatically, not perfectly, but consistently, compassionately, and with clear eyes. You've got this, and you know it a little better now.
If you found this helpful, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We'll see you in the next one.